So, good morning. When I was a freshman like you are today, I was really excited because I knew that my job was simple. I wanted to become a good medical professional. And for this, I thought that I need to find ways to provide empathy for patients, to get their knowledge about medicine, but I was wrong. That was not enough. The reason why is that the world of medical technology has moved from science fiction to reality. But your job as future healthcare professionals is not to include science fiction into medicine. Your job is to improve the human touch, the doctor-patient, the healthcare professional-patient personal relationship, while technology is getting better and better in the background. So my message for you today is very simple. I think we can still improve the human touch, but only with technologies. And as a medical futurist, I must be really honest with you, it is only possible by using more and more disruptive innovations. And as a geek, I think it's only possible by better and better, bigger and bigger, more and more disruptive innovations. That's the simple message. And the reason why is that today, healthcare is becoming like a science fiction movie. And there are many examples for that why. Like in science fiction movies, paralyzed people can walk again, patients can measure anything about themselves, genomic information, basic vital signs. We have access to everything within the ivory tower of medicine. For over 2,000 years, there has been an ivory tower of medicine. Only professionals inside could access the information and the devices. And that's not the case anymore. There is no ivory tower anymore. And I have one good story to underscore this notion. In the early 19th century, physicians had to put their ears to the chest or back of patients to listen to cardiac and lung sounds. That was the early stethoscope. But then a French physician came up with an idea that a wooden tube could be used for this purpose, so then they could listen to the lung and cardiac sounds in a more professional manner. And that was this stethoscope. It took him 30 years to get this message across to medical societies worldwide. 30 years. And since then, the stethoscope has become the sign, the signal of the patient. If there is a stethoscope around your neck, you're a physician for sure. And now, one of the world's biggest cardiologists, Eric Topol, said that for 2 years, he hasn't used his stethoscope because he has a portable ultrasound in his pocket. And it's much better seeing the heart than listening to that. So now, that's how fast technology can change the practice of medicine in the everyday practice. So, my point today is that we need to use good technologies and we need to improve ourselves as human beings to find the best potential solutions for healthcare problems. And actually, there are no limits what you can achieve today. It might sound boring, but it's not. If you need scientific, clinical information, if you need answers for your very hard questions, you can crowdsource it through social media. If you need money for your idea to become a reality, a real product, you can crowdfund the idea. If you don't have the money for manufacturing something, you can 3D print it for US cents or just a few euros. So again, if you have a good idea in healthcare, you have no limits, no geographical, no money-wise, no information-based limits. It is an endless world with its endless opportunities and endless risks. But that's why we need to improve as beings ourselves. That's my favorite story, why we need to use technologies in healthcare. There was a supercomputer from IBM named Deep Blue, and Deep Blue had a chess match with the reigning chess champion Garry Kasparov in 1996. And of course, Kasparov could beat the computer just like that. There were headlines around the world saying that that's the triumph of humanity over the algorithms and computers. 1 year later, they had a rematch. And the chess software, Deep Blue, could beat Garry Kasparov. Kasparov was furious at a press conference. He said that that was not fair because he didn't have access to the same massive databases as the computer did. So he came up with an idea of a new kind of chess championship. It's called Advanced Chess Championships. And since then, there have been human players working with chess softwares. No one can beat them. That's the final combination. For the last 3 years, the new supercomputer from IBM, Watson, has been used at US clinics. I saw it in action. The patient comes in, the doctor talks with the patient, while Watson in the background checks the patient's medical records, the 23 million medical studies on PubMed.com, all the medical English textbooks, and it comes up with suggestions about the potential best treatment options. At the end, the doctor makes the final call, but still, they have all the information that they need. Right now, they can only guess. Patients' lives depend on luck, and whether that specific doctor is up to date or not, that's not going to be the case. So I think this is the winning combination, the utmost human creativity and the amazing computing power of supercomputers or whatever technology we have out there. That's what we need to use to have a healthcare that looks like this. I'm working for this every day, to put patients in the center of attention. Patients will be the kings of healthcare. All of you, you will have important roles, but patients will be the kings. Everything else is going to work for them and with them in an equal partnership and not in a pyramid, just like how medicine works today. But to be honest with you, we are not ready for this. No healthcare professional, no patient, no researcher, nurse, policymakers, nobody is ready for this. So I was asked to come here today to talk to freshmen and to give you a guide about how you can make healthcare ready for the upcoming technological changes. Believe me, not just waves of change are coming towards healthcare, a tsunami is coming, and that's all about technology. And if you are not ready, not prepared how to use that, it's going to wash away the medical system, making it a business-based service without any kind of human interaction. No one wants to let it happen. So we need a guide about what to do from today. The first thing is, the internet is not just about filters on Instagram or checking in Facebook, it's about crowdsourcing. So you need one skill, all of you, without exceptions, need one skill, digital literacy. Every day I face an ocean of information. I could get drowned in that in seconds. But I have a few digital methods. I use RSS feeds and I filter some channels. So I can fill up one swimming pool out of that huge ocean. That's still too much. I don't have that much time every day. You won't have that much time every day. So I have one glass. That glass is my social media network. My Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, YouTube, blog channels. I have 500,000 assistants working for me. Filtering the news, that would be the most relevant to my own field of interest. They work for me for free, just like how I work for them for free. That's a network. But through my social media profiles, I can get access to millions of people. I get answers for my questions. I get any kind of information I need because I have my social media network. If you want to get that kind of skill, I designed a free e-learning platform, the social media course, through which, through 16 presentations and very hard tests, you can go through and get this final ultimate expert badge and the skill of digital literacy. That's one thing. The second thing, I'm a geek. I love technologies. Your blood pressure, your stress levels, your pulse. If you think that's science fiction, I was in Dubai 2 months ago, and I could use such a mirror. I was standing in front of it, and it told me my pulse, my stress levels, my blood pressure, and so on. So these things are coming, and you need to be ready to be able to implement only the best ones into your everyday practice or everyday work in the future. If I can ask you one thing today, please read as many books and watch as many movies in science fiction as possible. As a science fiction geek, I need to be honest with you, there are some bad ones, but the more you read, the more you watch, you will get great ideas about what we can prepare for in the future of medicine. Let's talk about these with your friends, with your fellow students, at home, wherever. Let's discuss these potential issues of artificial intelligence, robotics, home tracker devices, with each of us. We need to talk about these things, and we need to start these discussions today to be ready by the time this tsunami hits medicine. But let's say you are digitally literate. Let's say you are ready for technological changes. One thing is still missing. We all need to become pilots of our health. For 2,000 years, the physicians have been in the cockpit, and patients haven't arrived at the airport yet. Now, after about 2 years of technological revolution, the patients should be in the cockpit, and they together should sit there, getting all the data and information that they need, making decisions together on the same partnership level. But for this, we need to become pilots of our health. And for the first time in history, we have a chance for that. And instead of showing you statistics and dry data, I thought I would show you how I try to improve my own health with a few devices. First, in health management, I started with having bad sleep. So I went into changing my sleep with one very simple tracker. About 1 time a week, I wear it on my wrist, and it tells me the exact data, what kind of sleep I had. I learned that if I have 1 long deep sleep period, I'm going to have a great night's sleep. So it doesn't matter for how many hours I sleep. What matters for me is if I have 1 long deep sleep period. So I try to find out the mistakes I make before going to bed about what to do next, how to change my sleep. And now I have a perfect sleep. And I don't use it anymore because I have a perfect sleep. But I couldn't wake up at the best time, and that's a real struggle. So I turned to a smartwatch, the cheapest, simplest smartwatch out there. And there's an application, Morpheus, it's free, on a smartwatch. And what it does is that it tries to find the best spot when it can wake me up. So I tell the smartwatch, wake me up between 6 and 6:20 a.m., and it finds the best 1 second when I'm in light sleep, not in deep sleep anymore, and I can wake up like this. So I have 2 cheap assistants working for me to find out to have a good sleep and to wake up at the best potential time. Jackpot. And these are becoming even cheaper, even more comfortable, and so on. But that was not enough. I wanted to know my daily physical activities. So I started measuring how many steps I take and so on. Now, I don't use it anymore. But when today at the airport, I had to choose between the electric stairs and the stairs, I would choose the stairs because I know if I had more steps that day, I can function mentally properly, more properly the next day. That's how simple it is. I can measure my blood pressure once a week just in case. There are no pumps, no wires. I just put it on, I check my emails. There is 1 button called Start. It measures my blood pressure, sends data to my smartphone. So when I went to my GP a few weeks ago, he asked me, shall we measure your blood pressure? And I told him, here are my last 30 measurements visualized in color codes. Let's not focus on that. I have 2 questions, and we can get it done quite quickly. I'm not his favorite patient, but it's getting better. Moreover, when I was a last year medical student, it was my job every day to do an electrocardiogram, an EKG on patients. I think I could do about 6 or 7 EKGs in 1 hour. Huge machine costing thousands of euros. Well, now this is a device which I can use with my smartphone, and actually that is my 1-channel EKG. I can do an electrocardiogram right now, and this is approved clinically. It costs a few, maybe $100, not thousands of euros, and that's it. Electrocardiogram just became available in my hands, and there are hundreds of these devices. Moreover, I know it's silly, it might be weird, but a French company came up with the idea of the smart fork, because people eat too fast. I eat too fast. And the fork teaches you how to eat slower. I use it once a month. It's really hard to use it. It's really disturbing. So you start eating first, okay, second too fast. It vibrates and says, no, not yet, not yet. Now the second fork serving. Really disturbing to learn that. But you saw on the video that in Parkinson's disease, they have now this spoon with which patients can eat properly because it can re-vibrate the patient's tremor. I can do 1 measurement at once. Electrocardiogram, my oxygen saturation, my pulse, breathing rate, sleep quality, daily activities, body temperature in 1 Star Trek Medicaltricorder. So these are coming to the market day by day. I play games every day on Lumosity to improve my cognitive skills, my flexibility, my problem solving. I wish I had this when I was a medical student back then. You could improve your memory by playing games for 5 minutes every day. When I need to focus, I only listen to music that generates the best potential brainwaves. That's a free application out there, Focus at Will. It's a jackpot solution for focusing for longer hours. I can measure my brainwaves. I put it on, but it looks silly a bit. But patients now can measure electroencephalogram, their brainwaves at home, with a simple device that teaches them how to meditate when they really want to relax at home. I've had 3 genomic tests. I had my microbiome sequenced. I can measure stress levels. I can measure anything. So future patients will measure everything about themselves, from DNA information to stress levels and even electrocardiograms. That's what you need to be ready for. So by becoming pilots of our health, something is still missing. And that something is that when I talk to medical students and biomedical students, they tell me, well, policymakers and organizations will change healthcare, and we could adapt to that. That's never gonna happen. No organization, no government, no entity above us can change healthcare. We can do that. You can do that individual, by being proactive. By proactive, I mean that patients need to step their game up, and they need to have health management with or without technologies. Future healthcare professionals need to be ready for this technological world. So, through the ways I'm trying to improve my job every day and my cognitive skills, the ways I'm trying to live a healthy life, I'm just trying to change healthcare. So I hope that you are really excited about your coming years at university and that you will join me in changing healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you, Bertalan. Excellent talk. You know this? Can I see your brains active? No.
Not in live, not live.
I'm just kidding. There are a couple of questions. There are a few questions in Dutch I will not repeat.
Thank you for that.
I'd like to mention everyone that how do I put it? I mean, I'm not looking like a father who's talking to his kids, but don't use the app for rubbish, please. Because I think this is the start of your study, and it's not the end of your holiday. So one of the questions is, and that's a very intriguing question, do you think that the fear of being redundant and ultimately replaced is the main reason physicians are reluctant to install technology?
What a great question.
Yeah.
I get this question many times, whether future healthcare professionals would be replaced by algorithms and robots. And then I tell them, if I can be replaced with an algorithm or robot, I deserve it. That's why I improve all my skills as much as possible. So then when it comes to the battle between technology and me, let's have a battle. Let's see who is better. Although there are some jobs in which algorithms will make a much better job, or do a much better job, but I still believe that we can improve our skills to the almost endless limit of the human creativity and the human problem solving. So it depends on us whether we will be replaced or not.
But do you think the reluctancy there is, that's it's the doctors that don't want to have this installed, or the biomedical scientists?
Yeah, we cannot blame them. No one has ever trained them to be ready for this kind of work. So what we face now, that in 2 or 3 years' time, more technology has come to us in practice than in the last decades. So no one has ever prepared them for what's coming next. But as far as I know, in this curriculum, you all will be prepared for a technological revolution. So now you won't have an excuse to be reluctant.
Okay, that's a good start for the question. Claire Smulders, do you want to ask your question? Because that has to do with starting the study and implementing the technology. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering how you think the technology should be implemented in our new curriculum.
Well, as far as I know, this is going to be the only medical school and university in the world that implements, for example, 3D printing and 3D modeling in the actual curriculum. So usually I tell this to my own medical students back in Budapest, that they are the only ones in the world getting this kind of knowledge, but now you're the second. So yes, if there is one place in the world where you could learn the most about future technologies that can change healthcare, that's in Nijmegen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. So, that's a good one for us. Then there's an intriguing question. What's going to be the biggest game changer in the next 5 years?
Well, as a geek...
Only one.
Only one. As a geek, I could say artificial intelligence, cognitive computers, gamification, 3D printing, but I think if the patient empowerment goes through as it's supposed to go through, and patients are becoming the kings of healthcare, that's going to be the biggest game changer, because that will draw the attention of other technologies to this field, and then change can come. But until then, we are not ready for this.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the last question, and you mentioned already, what do you think about 3D bioprinting?
Well, it's more exciting than it seems so. So when now we can print out medical equipment, prosthetic devices, and for years we've been talking about printing out drugs in the future, and now 3 weeks ago, the first 3D printed drug was approved by the FDA. And that drug is solely 3D printed. That's a drug used in epilepsy. So now it's, again, science fiction became reality in healthcare.
So you mean you can print your drugs at your own home?
Not yet, but
Okay.
that's going to be an ethical issue for sure.
Okay. Are there more questions from the floor? The ladies are going around. Yes. Yes, the guy with the yellow polo. Good catch.
Yeah, I have a question about the data. The apps you use, aren't you afraid that all the data that's collected there one day will be visible for other people that maybe will use it against you?
It's a valid question. I'm not afraid that my blood pressure measurements would be used against me, although you are right. The problem is, these are not the solutions. These are the baby steps of this technology. The best ones are just yet to come. But if there is no demand from society for better devices, there won't be any. So we are building a pyramid here. On one side, we have us, society. On the other, we have the companies developing new technologies. If there is no demand, there are no better ones which are more safe and private and secure, and vice versa. So the building blocks are already available, but we are not building the pyramid yet, or just very slowly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, next question. Yes.
What's the most innovative aspect in the human touch right now?
The most what?
The most
Most
innovative expert. Say it again.
Yes.
Say it again.
Oh, yeah. The most innovative aspect in the human touch right now.
Let me reverse this. There are areas worldwide where there is no care given at all. Doctor shortages, lack of money, lack of regulations. Those patients have no access to care. So when my older professors argue with me about the importance of technologies, and they say that technology should not substitute the doctor-patient personal relationship, I tell them that those patients have no access now, but with telemedicine they do. Moreover, as far as I know, at the Department of the Maxillofacial Surgery in Nijmegen, at this UMC University, they have now 70% of the annual checkups. They do it through FaceTalk, because those patients need to leave from work for a day or two, travel here, have a 3-minute checkup, and then leave. Now, what they do is they do the same thing through FaceTalk or Skype. They have the same quality, and those patients don't need to leave work for days, spend money on traveling and hours and time and so on, and they finish in 3 minutes. So that's what, I think that's what the human touch is about. It's not about just touching ourselves or the patient. It's about having the real human connection, either through technologies or in person. It's favorable in person, but in many cases, that's just mission impossible. Thank you for the question.
Okay.